Happy Friday, not just any Friday, but SysAdmin Friday, SysAdmin Day 2022. It's a great day, and I'm joined by Sagi Brody. Sagi, how you doing today?
I am doing great. Happy to be a sysadmin today.
I think all of us kind of started our careers in that, and the careers change over time. We see on the lower third, you're the CTO of Opti9. That's kind of cool. We had you talking a little bit at Veeam on, but give us a quick intro, Sagi.
Sure. Yeah. As you mentioned, started my career as a sysadmin, getting paid $5 an hour to run a room full of FreeBSD and Linux servers, and spent a lot of nights on that data center floor. Helped start a company called WebAir about 20 years ago, and we merged and turned into Opti9, and still the CTO. The team's much bigger, and today we are focused on providing managed backups, disaster recovery, and ransomware protection recovery as a service.
Indeed. So, and it's taking you, all over from your career and taking you down to Florida, which is where you're at now. And I'm in Central Ohio. I'm in the Veeam office. I would never do this to my house, friends. I'm telling you. But we'd like to know on the streams. We've already had some really, really good interaction. Let us know what U.S. state or country you're joining from. I got Chris Chowderhose, one of the vanguards and legends. We got Jay Mex from Germany joining. I got so many good people that I've recognized joining, but let us know on the streams where y'all or the collective, all y'alls are joining from, and we'll light up this application. We also have our producers both in Texas on the social media and production side and the ATL for the video feed. So good stuff. Well, Sagi, let's jump into our slides. We actually got some content. Believe it or not, we prepared something here for today. So we're going to celebrate this here with Veeam. And let's start with a definition. SysAdmin Day, there's all these like manufactured holidays. I think I saw yesterday was National Chili Cheese Dog Day here in the US. Who knows? There's always a holiday, but this is a real thing. And have you known about it in your, circles so far?
I would say yes. I would say I wish I knew about it more. Sometimes the day that it pops up, you just sort of see it on your feed, and you celebrate for a few minutes. But I do think that when you actually stop and think about it, it makes a lot of sense. And for the non-technical folks out there really don't think they have a full appreciation for what the sysadmins do to keep the lights on. The IT heroics, the patchworks, the missing family events. People, non-tech folks just assume, oh, it just works. The IT guy is gonna or girl is gonna fix that. It's everything's all automated. They don't know about the skeletons in our closet or the fact that technology is not perfect, and we have to fill in those gaps with blood, sweat, and tears.
Indeed. I have nothing but evidence of bad things happening to good data in the form of case studies over at Veeam.com, right? So the thought is, at the end of the day, sysadmins, backup admins, they're part of this. And sysadminday.com is a link you can check out. That is the actual organization who, I guess, claim the identity of this holiday. And this is their mission statement. They get no respect 364 days of the year, but today is our party, and I'm hoping everyone has a decent dinner and beverage of choice yet tonight. So Ron is also from Ohio on the LinkedIn chat, and you know what I'm talking about with Chili Cheese Dog Day yesterday. That I might do that for lunch. That's why we moved it up an hour. So good shout there, Ron. So awesome. So, Segi, we at Veeam are celebrating SysAdmin Day, and we actually have a little promo that we're doing, right? This is our gift back to the community. If you want to check the QR code or the link there for the attendees, there are some terms and conditions to this giveaway, but we're going to be giving out a robot thing. I don't even know what that is, an Oculus 2 VR headset, a 5 terabyte portable hard drive. I used to actually, Sigi, I used to actually give a lot of I'd roll my eyes when the marketing team would come up with these prizes sometimes on like portable hard drives of like, here's a 64 gig USB drive. And I'd be like, no, thanks. But actually 5 terabyte rugged, that I would consider that sounds pretty cool.
It just looks cool. I have the Quest 2. And I've actually seen some of the Veeam and Optinine web-based interfaces in virtual reality, which is just really sweet. And that the Lego robot, I mean, yeah, these are top-notch, geek and tech-wise, absolutely.
Oh wow. Well, the smartest video producer I know just let me know that he keeps one of these on his desk. So that is a mode of approval. And I'm just gonna have to take the word on the V marketing team that these Lego Mindstorm robot inventor building sets are a thing. So we'll see. Whoa, we're gonna do a map update because it is coming in hot. So let's transition over to the map application real quick. Wow. Man, oh no, we're going to do it soon, I should say. I got the list, but there's a lot to put in. We're going to come back to that soon. Sorry about that, Mark. But this is a good time to tell a story. So, Sagi, in preparing for this, I thought sysadmin stories are the really the heart of sysadmin because we all have these from SysAdminDay. So, yeah, we thought about it, and we're going to tell two. So, tell us the first one. Help me.
Okay. So yeah, this is my story. When you asked me to share my battle scars and what it's like to be in the trenches as a sysadmin over the years, this is the one that always pops up for me. And I hate to start a story this way, but when I was a kid, when I was your age, or when I was a junior sysadmin or whatever. Um, there was really no such thing as vendor support. Like many sysadmins, we used open source software, and we just that just was the world that we lived in. You couldn't even buy vendor support for those platforms, and there wasn't really bulletin boards or Google at the time even to go and find problems to your answers to your problems. In fact, still see that a little bit today with some of the older sysadmins, and it's nice. It's nice, but it's also interesting when you work with sysadmins, and you have to and they're having an issue and they're trying to fix it, and you have to remind them that there is vendor support. Sometimes people forget. It's like, we pay a lot of money to this company for support. You can open a ticket. No, 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 I got it. I think I can figure it out. And I'm like, no, we pay a lot of money. I know that you want to figure it out. I know you're super smart, but why don't you just open a ticket just in case for the meantime? Let them go do their thing while you work on it. So, pros and cons, but I do like to hear that, and that's what being a sysadmin is all about. Every time you fix something, it's a learning opportunity too. But so for me, back in the day, yeah, that sometimes you would just get desperate, and you might be working on resolving an issue for a whole weekend. You might be having to, especially with open source, start looking at the code to try to figure it out yourself. But what I would do is when I would hit that brick wall and I had no other recourse, and no other avenue to get help is, maybe I'm a little ashamed to say it, but it was IRC chat. And there was the great chat rooms for all the different technologies you can think of. And they're still around. Obviously, one's for every Linux distribution and Apache and PHP and FreeBSD. And the cool thing about the chat rooms back then is that the actual contributors, the actual developers, the names that you would see when you would look at the code, they were all in there. But I'd go in there sometimes and I'd ask a question, and I'd get no response. And maybe it was a real newbie question that they've heard a million times. So I had to change strategies. So what I started doing was I changed my name to something like Jenny24F. And then I'd go back into the chat room and I'd ask my technical question again. And you wouldn't believe how many private messages I would start getting of really smart technical folks who were from the bottom of their hearts just willing to help me and help resolve my issue and get my problem fixed.
And just say, give me a call at 8675309 too, right? So
Yeah.
Jenny, that's like the original reverse mansplain is what you basically just walked into there. That is hilarious. I actually think that's really funny. So yeah, he did run that story by me, and I think that's pretty good. We've had some good a couple of people say, oh, I miss IRC, right? So we're speaking to the heart of the language here. So cool. So I got information that the map is ready now. So let's take a quick look. Whoa, we've got, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to read all this, but let's start with the states: Connecticut, Virginia, Michigan, Ohio, again, Illinois, Minnesota, Tennessee, Nebraska, Kentucky, North Carolina, Missouri, Iowa, Wisconsin, Virginia, California, and then Canada. In the Caribbean, we have Puerto Rico and Haiti, and we were thinking Haiti might be a first live attendee here, so welcome there. And then over in Europe, we've got the Netherlands, UK, Spain, France, Italy, Czech, Germany, Swiss, Poland, Denmark, and Turkey. And then let's go to South America. We've got Argentina, Brazil, and Peru. Let's go to Africa and the Middle East. We've got Cameroon, Angola, Ethiopia, Algeria, KSA. And by the way, see, what is today? Islamic New Year 2022. It's today, right? So that's a holiday on top of a holiday. And then over in Southeast Asia, we've got Malaysia, Indonesia, and Bangladesh. Wow. Ooh, a good comment from Robert, about getting responses from the other side of the world. He had said about that. It's interesting how some of these responses can happen. We've all got stories there, but actually, Segi, you've got one more story. Tell me about, and this will find our way right into backup. Tell me about the drives.
Oh yeah, another good story. And I saw Robert's comment as well, mentioning the Usenet. I think he beat me as far as technical muscle goes, right? Because Usenet was certainly a source of support and chat and all that, probably even before IRC. The great thing about these platforms are they never die. I guess they just fade away, and there's still people using the Usenet today. IRC is alive and well, although I'm sure we all feel real silly that Slack had to come along to monetize IRC into billions of dollars. But yeah, so really cool stuff reminiscing on that. So the other story for me that popped up was I distinctly remember probably being 19 or 20 years old as we were just starting our company. And, I was in the data center at 4 a.m. It was Globix in Manhattan. I think I was the first customer there. Pulling out the 4U server out of the rack. Of course, no Rails. Of course, it's sitting on top of 5 other 4U servers. None of them are screwed in. No surprise there. And doing some surgery on the server. I don't remember what it was, but it's so what you do is you take the hard drives out, and these were probably 36 gig SCSI drives. And you don't want to disconnect them. You just sit them on top of the server as you're doing your surgery, pop them back in. But of course, it was late and I nudged something and both the drives go crashing to the ground, good 6 feet. And, there I was holding both of these drives in my hand. And we probably had a few hundred customers at that point. And just looking at them, knowing, of course, that most likely did not have good backups for them or any. And just, thinking to myself, if one of these drives is broken or is not functioning properly, my company is done. There is no company. There is no web air at the time. And just, saying a little prayer in my head, reconnecting them, and thank goodness, server booted up, no problem. That was all of our DNS, all of our email, probably 10 other functions. So, I'm happy that today that usually cannot happen based on all the virtualization and backup and technology, but man, that was scary.
Yeah, when we get to the community thread post that I had a second ago, that backup part of it, and like the end of days potentially for a company, it's real, and sysadmins can save the day. I like the comment from Scott Cunningham's Law, or Scott's comment about Cunningham's Law. It says, the best way to get an answer on the internet is not to ask a question, but to post the wrong answer. Scott, you win the internet today. That is gold, 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 gold. Love it. All right, so I'm going to pivot over to my sysadmin story, and my little quick story is called The Coworker. I'm sure you all can relate to this. Back in the day, a little bit more hair, a thinner face and all. I had a coworker. I didn't trust this individual, period. This person was reckless, and it was really became personally awkward and things like that. And I remember I remember one of those oops outage moments, and the CIO comes over and said, "What happened?" Because the web application team was, complaining about systems not functioning as expected, and the coworker said nothing, and then I pull up the log and say, well, actually, coworker did X, Y, and Z with, oh, by the way, there's no change control. Oh, by the way, there was no maintenance mode. Oh, by the way, we tested it in the dev environment and it broke there too. Needless to say, we were down an admin at the end of that day. But, it's one of those things that, it can go the other way. It can get malicious. It can get accidental. It can get reckless. I had a coworker, honestly, just didn't trust. And I think trust is a big deal nowadays. My other quick story, and when Segi told the story about the drives, makes me think of the lease return. So I remember really when I don't want to say cut my teeth in my career, that's not really the right language, but when I went to the next level in my career when I was an admin, it was when I really embraced VMware virtualization. And I'm sure so many people on this call, have those hero moments, right? When you consolidated and really changed the fabric of your IT practice. And in my experience at the time, I did just a shed load of lease returns because we had virtualized and the leases were up, and then that was also their conversion schedule. And I just remember racks and racks, and I would just be P to V in the rack, and then the next day or so take it out, P to V, take it out. But one of these racks, Sagi, was hilarious because similar deal, not quite installed right sometimes. I don't want to disparage the name of the vendor, but let's just say it was one of the 3-letter server vendors that really never skimped on the durability and heaviness of a rack mount server. But whoever installed it didn't do it right. It was like slightly off aligned, like the half reuse weren't right. I pulled it out and it fell out of the rack rails. Ball bearings everywhere. Like I literally almost fell on one of them. I've seen many internet memes of like a banana peel type of fall on ball bearings. But I mean, and it took a gnarly gash on the front. But I'm like, you know what? This is a lease return and the part number is still visible. So it went back, and I didn't quite have an end of days moment because we would, of course, P to V, had a backup and then stand by on the previous equipment for a bit if needed. But we all have those stories. Couple of great comments come in. Oh, wow. Amy D had a coworker dump the Halon system. The individual did not get fired, but we had been told for years we would if that ever happened. Wow. I mean, I've seen water issues in storage rooms, but never in a data center, much less the Halon.
Yeah, that's one of those things everybody talks about, but every once in a while you hear that story. And I remember I spoke to someone who was a maintenance person for those systems, and I asked him like, "Hey, how often do these systems ever actually go off?" And oh man, he rolled his eyes at me, and he mentioned a few residential cable providers that just had a habit of letting those systems go, and I won't mention who they were, but yeah, that's a bad one. That's a few $100,000 mistake right there.
Oh yeah, woof. That's just one of those many types of disasters that can happen: fire, flood, and blood, accidental matters, and things like that, and just unplanned damage, right? So Segi and I shared, our couple of stories, and these things coming in, right? I mean, these are good. And oh, by the way, Nico Stein's in the house. Veeam Vanguard represent. Robert Novak, good guy, like him. A lot of people I know are in here, so welcome everyone. But over on the Veeam Community Hub, we actually flipped it around and asked for the best story. And I did kind of wait till the end to do this, but I had a couple of stories come in. I'm going to come back to Michael Paul's here. Marco Fabri had one, and Christian Emersol had one too. But zoom in real quick. But basically, if you get a chance at the Veeam Community Hub, I dropped in, the link should get pushed out here on the streams in a second. But Michael Paul walked into an incredible story where started a new job, but the organization didn't know, but they were already 2 weeks into a ransomware attack. And it was really manifested in their attachments in their CRM system. And it's just like, wow. Now he ended up falling in love with Veeam, so that spoke so much to my heart. But man, it's like, he had to basically introduce triage 2 weeks into a job. It's just like, Segi, those types of scenarios, he came out on the good end of it, but so many times it could be the end of days.
It's a really good point too, because when you're a sysadmin, you have no idea what you're walking into, environment and tech wise, and
Yeah.
it really is a gamble, and it's no one's fault, right? I mean, there's just so much technical debt, and our world is just rapidly changing so quickly, that it's not like running a restaurant. Being a sysadmin, it's if you stop paying attention, stop learning for 1 minute, forget it.
Yeah, indeed. And over also on the same thread, Marco Fabri, one of the Veeam legends who has a specialization in cybersecurity, similar type of thing. Everything was lost. People were crying, but a backup did it. Again, honorable mention to that one. So, thank you all of those who had shared that. And, there's still room to add your own story if you would like to over at the Veeam Community Hub. And so I'll pivot a little bit here. Good comments coming in. Let me take a look at one of these here. Comment from Diego over on YouTube. By the way, we're quadcasting here. One of the best disasters was losing the Active Directory, trying the backup, and it was too old. Oh, that could be an ugly one. Nowadays with me, we probably have better ways to get around that problem. But Robert had a comment. I once learned the hard way that you could create a file system on, mount disks, already part of a mounted RAID volume on Solstice Disk Suite. Oh, wow. That sounds like tough, hard knocks learning. That's good stuff.
Robert has a lot of stories.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. All right. And let's see here. Now, SysAdmin Day happens all the time. So I'm actually scraping out a few tweets that have popped up. And there was one tweet that someone just said, hey, what's your favorite backup system? And I got approval for these tweet reproduces, by the way. Michael from, I think that's Ireland, said Veeam, awesome, easy to use, and simple admin console, unlike other backup systems. So cheers for that, Michael. Appreciate those comments. Then I had another question here. This one was from RC2014 on Twitter. He said, back in the day when I worked in IT, tasks that were logistical nightmares were made easy and headaches removed with Veeam, right? So moving things around, quick restores, those types of things, right? But my favorite, Sagi, my favorite tweet, and that's why the middle's empty, comes from Renee Boss. No joke. He had a user asked to do a file recovery, which is just the easiest of things, right? But it was very important to that user. The user was so happy they brought him a cheesecake, and that's like in the Netherlands cheesecake. That's probably a really good cheesecake too.
Looks good. That looks really good.
I would take a piece of that. That's for sure. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see. Well, let's transition over to the Mapplication. We actually got some breaking news. We've added New York, North Dakota, and Kansas in North America, and I apologize for calling Canada a state earlier for who caught that. That was mainly just reading the list. And then in Latin America, we've added El Salvador, and then we've added India and Malawi, which is a first on the live streams here. So we're breaking records on this double dipping holiday. So welcome everyone. Thank you all. It was a great crowd, great engagement. We all have those stories. Push those stories over to the Veeam Community Hub. We've got room for it there, and I want to see what comes on. All right. So now, Sigi, we're gonna go to a different type of mode here. So let's ask the users what we want in this lightning round. Set it up, and let's see what comes in on the streams.
All right. So for the lightning round, we just rattle off words, technical words that just make you cringe and bring you back to that moment where you wasted way too much time trying to fix something or clean up someone else's mess. fewer technologies, tech vendor. Not no. Let's stay away from vendors. Let's focus
Yeah,
on
don't
tech.
don't name
No
drop.
vendors, no vendors. I'll get us started. I'll rattle off a few that I came up with, as well as I pulled some of the Opti9 techs, and even some of the Veeam Vanguards contributed. So I'll get us started with the lightning round. So here we go. We have regex, Perl, WordPress, DDoS, Zero Day. My favorite, very near and dear to my heart, and I would have more hair, is Spanning Tree. Oh,
Cool.
Spanning Tree gets me every time.
Yeah, for sure.
Blue screen of death, TCP zero window, operation timed out, solar flares. With Nico, will appreciate this one. No joke. I've had 5 or 6 router cases come back, and they say the reason that your router crashed was because of solar flares and solar radiation. Software defined printers, Ceph, cannot find root partition, VI, Active Directory, drop database. Do you want to hear a UDP joke? My favorite. And installing Linux from 23 floppy disks.
Oh boy, we've got some good ones coming in. Backhoe theory, don't know what that one is. Encryption keys, SPOG, fair shout there. Nico, printers. Oh, Jesse, you win. Printers, that one's a good one. Cosmic rays, SPOF on John. That's good comeback. Oh, Max, Eminem, 2003 and XP. I'm just looking on the LinkedIn. Vines, good one. It's okay to disparage companies that don't exist anymore. Right. So there you go. That's okay.
Or operating systems that are no longer around.
ME, OS2. Yeah, we all, mine was, let's see, I think it was Microsoft Outlook 98. And maybe I got an early build, a bad build. I literally walked around the office calling it Lookout because, hey, do you want the new version of Lookout? It did not go well for me. It's come a long way. There we go. Oh, DNS. There you go, Jeremy.
That's a good one.
I can't believe we didn't think of that.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, still to this day. A couple name drops of Novell. Dependencies, good one, Sahab. Welcome. Yeah, it's like there's so many out there. Print, yeah, another that showed up on YouTube as well. Oh, IPX and SPX protocol. I had some fun with that back in the day. Yeah, rescue strategy. Yes, so many. Oh, thanks for the definition of backhoe theory. Oh, Tommy O'Shea says if a fiber line exists, it will be dug up by a backhoe. Tommy, yep. Okay, I'm gonna double down. I had that happen to me. One of my earlier sysadmin roles. I'm out in the back, or we're in the office, and we're looking out the window because the internet's working, and literally there's this big hole. And like 13 people looking down in there. I'm like, oh, I think that's our problem. Anyways, we could go on and on with that. That is amazing. So real quickly, we're having too much fun here. Let's bring it up real quick. We've talked about the past and some of the current things, but Segi, what's your kind of future view for the sysadmin as we kind of get started to close out here?
Yeah, it's an interesting scenario because to some extent, we have much more mature and better technologies to help make our lives easier. I would say, Veeam is a great example, technology-wise, or just deciding that you're going to let someone else take ownership and accountability of some of those annoying layers, like Opti9 providing managed backups or disaster recovery as a service. Obviously, these things weren't around like 20 years ago. On the flip side, as we've progressed, the complexity is constantly increasing. And let's pick on, backups and DR for a second. Years ago, DR was replicating your infrastructure from point A to point B, your production to DR. Today, the definition of our critical production environments is a mix of SaaS platforms, public clouds, on-prem, colo, third-party APIs. How do you provide resilience or DR of that? And so, it's an arms race. And yes, there's much better tools, but I would say the big killer today and what we have to focus on is complexity creep. The old adage of, KISS, keeping it simple.
Yeah.
That should be our goal. One of the goals of IT should be let's keep things simple.
The details matter, but I am on team simple with you. I like that. And my view in the future is really just some of the threats to the data, right? Ransomware, And then when you think about the interconnectedness, modern apps, SaaS, cloud platforms, the details make it hard to get out of some of these problems easily. So the sysadmin is not a dead role. We might, maybe change the name of the holiday at some point, but I think there's incredible opportunity. And for all of you that were watching, thank you so much for sharing your stories and really good interaction. Take it over to the community.veeam.com site for more of those stories. And I got to feature a couple of them that came up here. Whew. All right, so let's bring it home. So next Friday, the Industry Insights show, actually special episode, nearly 2.5 years in the making. Danny Allen, Veeam's CTO, my boss, and Dave Russell's and Jason Buffington's boss, will join the Industry Insights show to talk about trends and Veeam's vision for the future of backup. Not gonna lie, that's gonna be a great show. And then a week from today, Madalena on the product strategy team and I are going to talk about user groups with Veeam and how you can engage at the Veeam Community Hub. Sagi, hey, thank you so much for joining me today. I love the story, and my favorite was Jenny 24F. That one wins. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Outstanding. And a big thanks to our producers in Texas and the ATL, and a big thanks to all you viewers that have joined us here today. That concludes our stream, and have a great weekend, everyone.